Hello everyone, and in this video we're going to be talking about how you can bring an old electrical outlet up to code. And so in this house we have 1950s wiring, which means that they only had two conductors in all of the wires when they originally framed this house. So I only have a black wire, and a white neutral wire. And so the outlets look like this. So there's only two prongs to each one of them. And the issue is when you want to plug in something that has three prongs, you can't. And so the not code compliant way to do this is to simply throw in a modern outlet like this, which has that third hole in that three-prong. That third prong is your ground. Now, the issue is that because you only have two wires, you're not actually grounding anything. And to understand why grounding is important is twofold. So the first is it protects the electronic equipment, but more importantly, it is there to protect you. So in these old systems and an ungrounded outlet like this, what can happen is if the hot wire, the black wire, were to energize the circuit, like a metal piece in here, the circuit will sit there at 120 volts. And if you were to then touch it, you become the shortest path to ground, and the electricity will flow through you past your heart, and anything over, I believe, 6 milliamps of current flowing over your heart can kill you. So it puts your heart into fibrillation, and that's how people get electrocuted. So the NEC requires that ungrounded electrical circuits, like the two-wire circuits in our house, have these GFCI outlets installed instead. And the way that these work is they have a sensor in them that basically checks the amount of current that's flowing between the hot and the neutral wire. And when there is a difference between the two, it shuts off. So even though there isn't a ground wire, the effect is that if we had plugged in a circuit like a toaster into this outlet, and somewhere inside of that toaster oven, the hot wire was contacting the metal enclosure of the microwave, for instance, and then you touch that microwave, within 40 milliseconds of you touching that microwave and energy, those electrons flowing through you, the GFI will have tripped. So it is a safety feature meant to save people's lives. This isn't just cutting corners, this is putting people's lives at risk, which is why it's a code violation. Every time on older houses you replace something, if you don't see that bare copper ground wire, you need to install one of these, unless you want to rewire your entire house with the modern Romex wiring that actually has a ground wire that goes all the way back to your sub and your main panel and the ground rod. So that's why these things are the cheap alternative to rewiring a whole house, which can cost tens of thousands of dollars. The other thing to note is with proper ground wires, so these modern circuits have these green screws right there, and when you properly wire a house and you have that ground, if there ever is a short, so if that black wire ever does touch the metal enclosure of your toaster, for instance, or your hair dryer, the benefit is that because the hot wire will have an immediate path to ground, the circuit breaker will trip. And so you've never energized that equipment to even have a human get electrocuted in the first place, and you've also protected that equipment. So having a proper ground wire does protect you and the equipment, but if all you wanted to do was protect yourself, that's where these are a safety requirement from the National Electric Code. And so you do need to install them. So I'm going to show you how I upgraded this outlet. It was in a bathroom to this one, a GFI outlet, and we'll get into that now. You can take a multimeter, and some of these multimeters will have a voltage with a little tilde next to it like that. So this is voltage AC. And so if you take your two probes and you stick it into the two little slots there, you can see that right now it's reading 125, so this is clearly hot. I need to go turn this off at my circuit breaker. So we just flipped off the power, so we're going to now, again, just double check the power's out so we're being safe. So I'm setting this to the voltage AC setting right there. And again, you just stick one probe into either hole. And right now I'm only reading 0.03 or 0 volts AC. And on both of them, I'm not seeing anything. So we are good to proceed with taking this thing apart. I'm gonna start with getting a flathead screwdriver to remove this. And this has some paint around it, and if you want to be really careful to avoid pulling the paint off with the faceplate. So I'm going to come in with a blade like this and just very carefully try to cut whatever tape is around those edges so that you avoid damaging the paint. So we've got 2 additional Phillips screws to remove. Again, to avoid pulling out the paint, I'm going to come in with a razor blade. The other thing you can do just to be super safe, and I do recommend it, is again double check your work. So we're going back into VAC, and you can see the 2 exposed screws on either side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch one probe to either screw, and I'm still reading 0 volts. So that means if I were to accidentally grab it, I wouldn't get shocked, but even still treat it like it's hot. So we're going to only take this thing out from the top and the bottom like this, never grab it or pinch it from left to right. So I've done that and it hurts. And so we have it out like this. We've got the black wire or hot wire. And I do recommend using a flathead because it really helps with the torque. You can just make a lot more torque than you typically can. So we're just gonna loosen that guy up. Then what I like doing is take some lineman top pliers like this, and you can basically take the hook out depending on what type of outlet you have coming back in, but in my case I like straightening it because I do have the outlet that we'll be putting in. You push it in flat, so there's no hooks in it like there are with these style. Put your wires as far away from each other as you can, because if somebody turns on the power right now, you do not want these things to be close to each other because they'll arc. So on these things, they'll typically have a strip gauge. So you can see in our case, it looks about 1/2 inch. And on these lineman pliers on this side, when you line up the sheathing with it, just like that, you're gonna be left with just about 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna do that. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to install the wires into our new GFCI outlet right here. And they put plastic tape on the bottom ones because you would only do this if you had downstream circuits from this one. For this basic install and meeting the code requirements, we're going to be following this procedure. So you've got your hot and your neutral wire right here, and we're going to make sure we've got enough slack in our screws so that these wires can fit in. Push it in. Okay, and just give it a tug. Make sure that's nice. Same thing with our other circuit. Again, give that a tug. Ideally, you tuck your wires up in there just so that you can try to get the box lined up so that the screws will fit in. We're gonna need the longer screws. I'll be right back. Got the longer screws. So we're going to pop them out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the power back on. Power is back on, and what you'll note is there's no light on it. So what you do is you press the top button right here. You can do it with a screwdriver if you want. But you can see that now our power is on, and so we are good to go. This is also tamper resistant, so I can't easily shove these prongs in, unfortunately, but you can still check voltage by touching the screws on either side. So I'm reading the 125 volts AC, which is good. And the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to install the included base plate. Very simple, just 2 flathead screws. Alrighty, there we go. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope this helps, and take it easy.